and welcome to episode 51. We're so fun of the Unqualified Game Chat. I am your host, Azario Lopez, and with me today, the bright, the beautiful Spencer, the Legacy.
Remember when we were going to do like 30 plus episodes ago, we were like, oh, we'll have a fun rhyme with every number, and then we never did it again.
Yeah, I like to keep people on their toes.
People are like, oh, I like we're kind of like a game freak, you know. So people are like, I like this feature, and we're like, no, we're gonna try something else.
Yeah. Right now I'm wearing a sweater without a shirt underneath it.
Oh,
I feel like that's like the ultimate chill. You know, like if you're just trying to chill at home, you don't plan on going anywhere, you just wear a sweater with nothing under.
That or just, you know, buck naked. I wanted to save a story for this podcast with you in the intro. Excited for this.
It's really funny. But it does have to do with, hear me out, my day job.
Zario's real life, the Peter Parker to his Spider-Man.
Now I know podcast. I'm here with you every day, writing and hanging out, answering emails, but a man's gotta make a living.
To quote Tommy Pickles, a baby's got to do what a baby's got to do.
Yeah, it's amazing how there's no money in the game journalism industry. But we'll make it work. Anyway, so today, I work for software that does that has some East Asian clients, and those are my clients. And my bosses were telling me that there was an escalation, and I freaked out. I'm like, whoa, what happened? Like it went from 0 to 100, and they're like, we need to get on a call right now. I'm like, okay, get on a call. So we get on a call. My two managers are on there, and they're like, Azario, do you know these people? We're getting a huge escalation right now from a few different clients. Have you talked to Rixia? And I was like, what? No, I'm searching my email. I'm like, no. They're like, what about Noelle or Claire? And I was like, you guys, I don't know who, like, I have not talked to these people. They're like, are you sure? Emma Milstein? And I was like, no, guys, I don't know. And they're like, oh, I'm sorry. This is the top 10 Trails waifus list.
Oh my God. Oh man, they got you.
And I said, I didn't write that. And it was a very funny interaction.
That's amazing.
They wanted to joke before saying that I was getting a raise. The opposite of fired.
That'd be pretty funny. They're like, oh, that's a funny article. Anyway, pack your bags.
It was just a good interaction, and I hope that story resonates with.
And you deserve that raise, mister.
I'm not gonna brag, but I work pretty hard on both fronts. On the niche JRPG front. I mean, you see all those videos that go out every day, Spencer.
It's true. I narrate a lot of them.
I edit all of those.
It's true. You do.
And thank you so much for helping me with the audio, because before I was doing all the audio for the people who didn't really have good mics. So really means a lot. I want to thank you for being you. It's just with that said, pack your bags.
With that said, internship canceled. No, I will not be paying you severance. And get out.
on episode 50, someone said, open the podcast. Someone put in the comments.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Intro to the podcast. You guys
bragging about yourselves.
Congratulate yourselves. Of course we congratulate ourselves. You know how much time this takes?
It's 50 episodes. We're not going to go. Welcome to episode 50. Yeah. Today we're going to be talking about. Of course you're going to be like, yeah, it's episode 50.
Yeah, we made it. We fucking made it.
I like the comment. You're like, this is the weirdest comment we've ever got. We review Tentacle H game.
like you would expect. Like, I think the more appropriate comments are on the Tentacle Edge games. There
was one comment on one that I narrated that was really uncomfortable, and it makes me laugh to this day. But they're like, Spencer, I hope you got paid extra to read this. I was like,
oh, it was the pimp simulator.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Yeah, we've there's been games like that, but you know what? Someone's got to review them.
It's fun. I don't know any of the games that I'll be narrating when I get them. I'm sorry, I was just like, hey, can you do some audio? I'm like, okay. And he just sends me docs, and I don't read over them first because I'm like, oh, I just got home from school and I gotta do this.
Gotta do it. Yeah,
gotta do it. So I'll just read through it. I'll be like, they can get pregnant.
Stop. Okay, delete. Okay, start. Oh, thank you for biting the bullet on those. Yeah, we have a lot of great writers on the website, and someone mentioned it today that it looks like Noisy Pixel's back because every day this week we've been putting up 2 to 3 review videos, and that's mostly because there's just more games coming out right now.
Yeah, it's a busy season.
March is incredible. February's okay. It's like end of February, but then everyone's kind of like getting out of the way of Elden Ring, you know?
Yeah.
Surprisingly, like Atelier Sophie 2 isn't.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
the pitch for that.
They're not scared. They're not scared of Elden Ring.
I mean, they're probably a slightly different audience, to be fair.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how Koei Tecmo released 2 games within 2 weeks of each other. That's strange. I mean, but again, 2 different audiences for Dynasty Warriors 9 Empires and Atelier Sophie 2. With that said, let's just remind everyone that we record these every week. Mm-hmm. Post to podcast services, iTunes, Hearts, and Spotify's on Thursdays. Every Thursday. Except for when Azario gets sick. Except for when Spencer goes on a trip.
That hasn't happened
yet.
I record when I go on trips at my sister's house.
That's true.
Listen, I'm very dedicated. Okay.
Dude, oh shit. See, you're showing me up right now, and I don't.
No, it's okay. You literally had COVID. That's a pretty good reason.
I don't appreciate it.
Speaking of which, pack your bags.
Pack your bags. We have stuff to talk about, but I do want to touch on because we haven't touched on the last couple weeks. Well, what we're going to talk about today, let's just say it's the 3DS and Wii U eShops getting kind of shut down. But before that, I want to know what you're playing.
Well, we saw that Nintendo Direct and we saw Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and I said, golly, because I speak like a 90-year-old. I said, golly, I want to be part of that hype wave when that comes out. I love Xenoblade Chronicles 1. I bought it on the Wii. That's how much I like it. So I said, I guess it's time to blast through them. So I started Xenoblade Chronicles Cross or X.
You don't need to play that one.
But I own it. Like I bought it at the beginning of the pandemic. I bought that too in Torna.
You don't need to play.
And I have a Wii U. So I was like, I want to listen, Azario, you can appreciate this. I want to be the kind of guy who's like, I'm a Xenoblade fan. And people are like, yeah, I love 1 and 2. And I'm like, oh, you haven't played X? You haven't played Cross? Oh,
you're right.
You're missing out. It's a hidden gem.
The problem that I fell into with Xenoblade Chronicles X is the size of it and the rollout of missions was so grand that I hate getting sidetracked, especially in a JRPG. When I play a JRPG, I just like being told what to do. Like, go here, and if you want to do something else, go do something. Like you can, like how Final Fantasy IX is set up to where you can go from spot to spot, but if you go left instead of going right, you might run into a different event.
Yeah.
But this one is just like all over the place. Like you can do these missions, you can do these missions, and it's just like it was just too much. It was missions. It was mission based and not so much story based for me.
I'm surprised you didn't stick it out for the waifus. Like Elma's a great character.
They're very cute characters. Yeah. And then there was the whole like controversy around like the boob slider.
That was that era of Nintendo Treehouse localization where everyone was really mad all the time.
Yeah.
Which I get with the Fire Emblem, the dialogue change. I get that. But gosh, I remember Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem. I remember Xenoblade Chronicles X. I remember Fire Emblem. It was all coming out and things were being changed. I just remember there was a lot of uproar all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are the good old days before Sony jumped on that ship and started doing the same thing. Sony
was like, we can't show Trish's butt in Devil May Cry 5. And I'm like, it's a really weird
Yeah, they
Like,
changed.
It's not even like a sexualized scene.
They ended up changing that. They ended up
I just thought
reverting
that
that.
was funny.
But that probably took some nudges from Capcom, who pays probably a lot of their bills over there at Sony. So
that's fair.
So you're playing X. How far are you?
I'm only like probably 5 hours in.
Mhm.
I forgot that you make your own person, so that was interesting.
Yeah.
You can give them Shulk's voice, which I highly appreciate, because is it Adam Howden or something? Shulk's voice actor is great. I just love his enthusiasm and be like, oh, now I'm feeling it. This is really great. I'm really feeling it. I'm like,
the Monado.
The Monado's power. I'm like, hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
I'm feeling it.
And plus, like, all the other characters aren't British this time. And when I think Xenoblade, I think like British characters. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I needed my guy to be British.
So are your plans to play through X and then play through 2?
2 and then Torna.
2 is big. 2 is a big game.
I'm lucky that I own them, because I bought them right before the pandemic, because I played Definitive Edition again. Like when it came out, I played Definitive Edition and I was like, damn, I forgot how much I love this game. I should really get around to the other one. So I went and I had just earned some money. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy 2. I'm going to buy Torna, and I'm going to buy Cross and just play them all. So I got them all at like actual prices because they were in stores still. And now they go for a lot. Expensive. Yeah. So I was lucky there. And it took me so long to get around to it because review games and recent Final Fantasy 14 obsession and stuff like that. So it's fun to be back in that. I love how Xenoblade does scale. Things are huge and grand, and I get why that's like discouraging sometimes. But to me, like, it's just like, damn, no one does it like Monolith Soft, where you look at a huge monster in front of you. It's like level 90 and you're like level 3, and you're like a huge mountain right behind them. And you're like, whoa, this is a world. This is there's no fog covering areas here. So, I mean, I've heard, because I posted on Twitter and Sabinfire responded to me, a cool listener of ours or viewer. I don't know if he listens or watches.
He's here. That's all that matters.
Yeah, that's all that matters. And he was like, oh yeah, the story isn't like the highlight, but it's a lot of fun or something like that. And I was like, okay, so now I know going in that like the story isn't the main focus, which I like stories and RPGs a lot. But if I have enough fun with it, and so like there's giant robots and shit, so I'm sure I will. We'll see how it goes. And there was like a comment on the last podcast too, where someone was like, oh, it's a shame you guys don't like X.
Yeah, I saw that.
We'll see if I do.
I think that makes me kind of want to return to it as well. Just to see if maybe I was just hard on it when I first played it.
Also, like a lot of games, it depends on like the mood.
Yeah.
Like I'll play a game and I'll be like, I'm not in the mood for this game. And so I'll be like kind of sour on it, but then I'll out of nowhere be like, oh, I'm going to play Bastion now. And I'll like play through the whole thing in like a weekend. And I'm like, that was good. So it totally depends on that too.
I agree. That's what happened with me. It's like, Hollow Knight. I didn't play Hollow Knight for a very long time, and I played it and I was like, well, this game's actually like, I can see why this game is good. But I
once in a while you just get that taste where you're like, I could go for a Metroidvania, I could go for a JRPG, and you do it and it just hits and it's nice.
Yeah. So maybe I should return to it and see where my head is at.
I'll continue to keep you all updated on my thoughts on it. So
yeah, your Xenoblade thoughts.
I'll tell Azario too. I'll say you should get back to it, or
maybe not.
We'll
I would love to finish Xenoblade Torna and get through that DLC, because Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is actually like I would say it's one of my favorite games.
Wow, that's pretty big.
I love JRPGs that attach you to the cast and just like you're there for like hundreds of hours.
Yeah.
You know,
games are long.
There's parts of me that wishes Tales of Arise was like 160 hours long. Yeah.
Oh, that's like, another little secret. I got a second Tales game. So I have 2 because I had a bunch of Nintendo credit.
Oh,
whoa. And the one Zesteria, the one with Yuri.
Vesperia.
Yeah, it was on sale. And I said, I'll get that too. And then I'll ask you whether I should play Symphonia or that one first.
Oh, you should play. I mean, Vesperia is the best. Is the best of the best.
Oh, okay. So start with Symphonia, so I don't go down.
Well, Symphonia's for story.
Okay.
Symphonia definitely for story. Just because it's so epic.
Mhm.
But Vesperia for just all around like timeless. Just because they did like this cell shaded thing, kind of like what the presentation is in Grace's F. If you ever played Grace's, you haven't played Grace's.
No,
F.
I have not.
But it just has this cell shaded that just aged beautifully.
But you know what I did before I bought it?
Hmm.
I went on Noisy Pixel and looked up the definitive edition review.
Oh yes.
And I read it. And I said,
did I write that?
I don't know. I
think I did.
It said staff.
Oh yeah, it was me.
So,
before I had a job that wouldn't allow me to write, so I used to just write under staff.
Oh, so it was you. Yeah, okay. So I read it and I was like, it's a pretty good review. I think I'll spend my Nintendo credit on this.
Yeah.
So, there we go.
And you get the new characters too. It's a good game. It's a great game.
Sorry I interrupted you because I was so excited to I wanted to impress Azario Senpai. So,
Yeah.
I have Tails games. So yeah.
I mean, it's not the physical edition, but
I am poor, so getting the physical one, that's probably like $5 extra bucks.
Sounds like an excuse. But I do wish Tales of Arise was longer. I just don't want games to. I wish a story could last forever. And then there's like Monarch that's coming out by the Persona creators, and I really want to play the game for that story.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I've been reading a lot of light novels lately that like just because I don't know what kind of mood I'm in. I'm like 35 hours into Atelier Sophie 2 right now.
Wow.
And just like trying to like get through that. And it's like a game that I know is going to end pretty soon if I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want it to. I just
it's like when you're in the end of Crisis Core and you're like, I could just do missions. Forever.
Yeah. You ever watch the anime? Where Zack is
that was after Crisis.
Was it after Crisis?
It came on the special edition of Advent Children.
And like the Turks are after you and they're shooting. Oh dude, that's a good little it's short.
I see why there's so much 7 content. Granted, the original 7 is my favorite game of all time, so I'm a little biased. But gosh, it's a cool world. You see why they make anime and cell phone games and shit. It's just cool.
They've expanded on it so much that it's probably easy for them to just build upon that world that they already created.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It would be so hard to do that for like 8 or 9 because I feel like those stories were so self-contained. But
absolutely.
But I feel like there's stories to tell within 9, maybe a prequel.
Yeah. I think 7's just the one with the most obvious stories to tell.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I want to know more about the Turks. I want to know about Zack. Like, it's very easy.
Yeah. 8 too. There's stuff that happened like why does the garden fly? Like they could have like explained like the wars before all that.
Yeah, I'll stick my neck out there. I like 8.
I like cool. 8. 8 is cool. Angelo.
Cool. Angelo. Hell yeah.
Hey, Angelo.
You know what? I think Cypher's like the goofiest character. I like Cypher. He's such a like moron rival. It's great.
Yeah.
Great character.
You know what the good thing about Cypher is that you do hate him.
Yeah.
But you do feel like that rival because you hate him, but you know that you were in school with him and it's like you want to see him. You want to see him you want to see him come back to your side, but you also like really hate him.
You also don't mind beating him up.
Some of the best parts about Final Fantasy VIII are when you pass out and play as Laguna and that whole story.
I love that.
Fucking brilliant.
So good. Laguna's
fucking
so good.
Brilliant.
It is. I was playing like Opera Omnia or whatever a little bit ago, and like you get to see interactions between like Laguna and Cypher, and Cypher's like, "Whoa, watching your movies made me want to pick up a gunblade," and I'm like, "Oh, this is so nice,
dude." That was definitely one of the is an adventure through and through. Final Fantasy. If you have not played Final Fantasy, just go play it.
Don't be discouraged by the online chat. It's a very much you need to make your own opinion on that game.
put a turbo on the new version and just
look up that one guide of how to break it, because it's really fun to break and play like really easy the whole game.
Yeah, and I mean the codes in the new one, the modern one.
You can do that. Even before, you could just triple try it at the beginning and then not level up and just cast Ultima and everything in like the first area.
Those are the days.
What are you playing?
Oh, just Atelier Sophie 2 mostly.
35 hours.
Actually, I can't say because it's past embargo. I'm also playing Soul Cresta, the Platinum Games shmup.
Oh, cool.
So I'm playing through that. They gave it to us after embargo, but no one's really reviewed it. So that review should be up soon.
Yeah.
But I love me a good shmup.
Oh, good shmup.
This one's not that hard, but it is insane. More thoughts when my review's up for sure. But let's get into the real meat of this podcast.
Topic. It's kind of related to what I played.
Yeah, so Nintendo is going to disable the eShops for the 3DS and Wii U this March. And you're not going to be able to buy games. You should you're able to until May, you're able to add credit, I think. And then next March, it's shut. Yeah, so March 2023. I'm sorry. Yeah. You're right. March 2023. So you have 1 year to. But you only have till May to add credit. So, yeah, that's okay. Yeah. So it's a weird thing. What's like? What you're gonna have like this idea that you want to buy? I guess Wii U. I mean, you did buy Xenoblade Chronicles X. Yeah. The thing is, like I got it physically, and if you have the physical one, there's DLC packs to speed up the load times. I downloaded all those. So, I mean, since they count as DLC, will they still be accessible? Because that's interesting. Substantial, load time difference. That's really interesting. Yeah. And like the digital one comes with that, but you won't be able to get the digital one. So I don't know what. Man, maybe I should download that too right now. even if you don't plan on playing the game, you should download those packs just to make it better when you do. Yeah. Okay, so it's pretty sad because the problem is it's like energy drinks, well, Monster drinks included, energy drinks. We don't know the effects that they're gonna have on like a generation because they've only been around for like 15-20 years, Yeah. So we don't know the effects on our bodies that they're gonna have when we're like 80 or 90, like, oh shit, we didn't know that Monster energy drink. I was a good Christian boy. I never drank an energy drink. I just powered through on coffee. You're a great person. That's why. So when Azario turns green in 6 years. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'll be like, Azario, brother, I'm here for you. I told you though. For you. I didn't want to say I told you so, but I did. So I think it sucks that when this ultimately happens, because when you buy a digital game, it's been made clear so many times before that you don't really own it. Yeah. And it sucks because this all these games, that's a curse. Yeah. To move that shit. Yeah. To move this shit around, to catalog it, to keep track of it. To not buy doubles, which I have done before. Plus, it makes that harder because a lot of games are going to get more expensive physically when they're not available digitally. All the 3DS Shin Megami Tenseis are going to fly through the roof. Those are already expensive, dude. Exactly, and they're going to get worse because you won't be able to get them for like $30. What about like Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright or Phoenix Wright? What are they going to do about Phoenix Wright, Dual Destinies, and Phoenix Wright Spirit of Justice, which are 3DS digital only in the West? Like, oh, that's right. What are they going to do? The Apollo Justice re-release that has new features. Like, there's a bunch of 3DS stuff where it's like, what are they going to? I mean, I know what they're going to do. They're going to do nothing because it's Nintendo. Etrian Odyssey is Odyssey, Persona Q2 and Q1. Oh my God, so many SMT games are 3DS exclusive. SMT4 Apocalypse and SMT4, the Overclocked series, and again, they're already expensive.
and they're getting worse. We had a conversation just like this with the PS3 and the Vita, but this is worse because you probably won't be able to bully Nintendo into not doing it like
no, they're not. They're not Sony. Yeah, they're not people pleasers.
Yeah, and B, they're not interested in offering alternatives for any of it.
Yeah, because their online structure is already bad. I mean, they were using GameSpy before, and like IGN owned it.
Can't use DS Online, and it's wild. They're so set in their ways, and they're so like. Did you see that super aggressive like Nintendo help thing about it? Like on their site that was like, we think that our classic thing is sufficient and will not be offering any alternatives at this time. And everyone was like, Jesus, dude.
Yeah,
that's so mean.
They don't care. I think they probably have. The problem is that the 3DS is still a good system.
It is. It has a lot of good shit.
And they did nothing with the new 3DS.
No, they didn't. Like, and they're pretty cheap now. Like, I got a new 2DS like a couple years ago for $100 Canadian.
Oh yeah, the new 2DS is a gorgeous machine.
Yeah, it is. And I grabbed it and I loaded it up with like Shin Megami Tensei and Phoenix Wright and like all these digital games that I might be interested in playing again. And honestly, like the fact that that's the only way to legitimately do that now is crazy that you have to do it within the next however many months.
I want to say like that it's not like we didn't see this coming.
Oh yeah.
It's like, but 8 years ago, when you're buying 3DS games on the eShop, you don't plan on thinking ahead like, oh shit, what's going to happen, in the future? Because what does ultimately happen? Like, say the server's completely shut down and you can't even access the games that you bought and download them because you have to download them from somewhere. They have to be on a server. They have
to come from somewhere.
Yeah. So if you try to download something, it just gives you an error that game's not accessible at this point. So they just say,
"There's your $60."
Yeah,
dead.
Yeah, it sucks, and that's why I don't. If it's a game, I need it to be physical because I need to know that I play it. I'll play it. But what also sucks about this generation is that even if I own the physical game, so many updates come out post launch. That if you bought Final Fantasy 15 at launch, and then you bought Final Fantasy 15 like the Crown Edition or something a Royal Edition, the Royal Edition has all the updates.
Yeah,
so that's
totally different games.
Yeah, so if you were to play that years later when all the servers shut down and you can't update the game, you play Final Fantasy 15 and play the Royal Edition. You're getting two different versions of that game.
Yeah, it's not like I don't know how they're going to address this, especially. In Nintendo's case, they're not giving you alternatives. Like they're not saying, "Oh, well,
you can still buy them on Switch, or you can buy them on the browser."
Yeah. Or like, yeah, exactly. They're just like, well, if you don't have it, you can't play it, but also don't pirate it. Just never play it. And it's like, that's kind of shitty. Like new people discover games every day, and like new game franchises, new series, like. Someone's gonna go to buy Xenoblade Chronicles X in 2 years, and the physical copy will be like $300, and it won't have the speed up patches, and they'll be like, okay, I guess I either need to hack my Wii U, which is pretty easy, or I heard, or I guess I need to. That's it, or I buy it for $300 and have a worse experience.
There's absolutely no other. I mean, you could try to buy the physical, but at that point, it's probably be super expensive. There are PS2
super expensive, and it's a less good experience without the loads.
There are PS2 and PS1 games that I'll probably never be able to play because of their price.
Yeah, exactly. It's just crazy.
And it sucks. It sucks because
like again, years ago or whenever that past episode was like, what if you want to show like your nephew or your kid, you're like, oh, we should check out this game that I played when I was younger, or like this game that I'm interested in. And it's like, oh, I don't have $400. Like that sucks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So with that said, what are some of your favorite 3DS games?
Um, I would say Shin Megami Tensei 4 is a really good game. That's worth buying. I have not played Apocalypse, so I don't know about that. Strange Journey, very good.
Strange Journey is a very strange game.
It is a strange game. Let
funny.
me tell you, they named it right over there.
On DS,
strange.
on DS, it was already strange, but on 3DS is
3DS. They add a new waifu and a whole bunch of stuff. The Phoenix Wright games, the like 3DS versions of Pokemon Crystal and like Yellow and stuff are pretty good. It's a nice, easy, portable way to go back to like Oracle of Seasons, Oracle of Ages, Pokemon trading card game. That game rules. Like, there's a ton of cool stuff, like the Wario Land series, that is cheaper and easier to go to on the 3DS. Like, if you had a new 3DS, you could play Earthbound. Now that it's on the now they're actually offering an alternative for Earthbound, but it's just like, there's so many cool games. That
I guess it does force the license holders to say we're gonna port it, or that's it.
They'll definitely. I imagine they'll make an Ace Attorney 4, 5, and 6 collection because.
But what about the dual screens? How do you take care of that?
Exactly. I mean, the Great Ace Attorney pulled it off, so I mean, it's possible, but it'll be shitty that the only way you can experience it is that. I mean, I have faith, judging from how they've done it so far, that Capcom will do it well, but not everyone's going to do that kind of thing well.
That's what kind of worries me about like SMT is that those games they do kind of utilize the dual screens.
Dual screen for sure.
Pretty well.
Yeah. So I don't know how you would I don't know how you would do 4, like where the commands are on the bottom and the party's on the bottom, and
it would take a lot of resources. It would take more resources than they probably would want to give to a game that won't sell that well. Yeah,
exactly. And it's a shame because
I mean, I guess they don't even care because Persona on PSP is still there. It's nowhere. It's available nowhere else. I mean, they have re-released games in the past. I mean, they did it from DS to 3DS as well. At least Atlas has. But it doesn't seem like they really care about diving too far back in the past.
Can they? I don't know. I was reading a thread about like making Wii U or 3DS games. I read that you can't make them anymore. Like limited run and stuff can't. So I don't know. Remember when Sega made a bunch of PS2 Yakuza games? Like
1 and 2. Yeah, because they were like $300. What happened was someone found a warehouse full of them.
Yeah.
And the price just went back down to 40. But before that, weeks before that, people were buying them for like 150, 200 bucks.
It's crazy. And like, so I guess like Atlas probably wouldn't have motivation to find a way to make new copies of SMT. So I don't know, but it's a real pickle. And I think it's a shame. And again, I don't think you'll be able to bully Nintendo into not doing it because Nintendo is very stubborn.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's gonna.
I don't think they care very much.
Also, get Yokai Watch 3 because physically that game is a shit ton of money, and digitally it is way more affordable, and it's the only real way to get to it. So
fun game too. Level 5.
Yeah,
developed?
Level 5. Where were all of you Weeaboos when Yokai Watch was out? I know it ruled.
The problem is that they marketed it as kids, but it's such an adult game.
It's a cool game. Like, it's actually really fun, and I love the sequel. And like, man, it's just good.
It's a fun game. It's a fun little series.
Picked up here.
It's a fun series. Izuma 11 never really caught up here. That's another level 5 game. Brazil got it, but never came out in America.
It's always fascinating to me, like how certain regions get physical or like digital versions of like there's English versions of Super Robot Wars in like China.
Yeah.
But they can't legally put them out here.
Yeah. For licensing.
Yeah. Licensing, or like the Europe will get physical One Piece games that we won't. It's so strange. But
I mean, right now the Klonoa collection, it's only available physical in Europe and in Asia. They haven't announced a North America version for physical.
That's Bandai, isn't it?
Yeah. They do that a lot, though.
About that. They do that a lot. Yeah.
They did
They always
a lot.
have really cool Dragon Ball
But they released
special
a
editions there.
They released a physical edition of Doraemon Story of Seasons, which
Oh yeah,
is just weird.
That
on,
is peculiar.
on PS4, at least.
Yeah,
That's a good game, though. All the same.
that's a fun little game. I remember that. It was fun.
Yeah. So the games I'll miss are definitely the Etrian Odyssey series. The Dragon Quest games that were released.
Oh shit, I forgot about that. Yeah, those are already expensive.
Yeah, the Dragon Quest games that are available on there. Yeah, there's
definitely get at least 8, if not 7 and 8, at least 8.
Oh yeah. But yeah, those are the games that I think I'll miss the most. Is that I feel like people should probably play Etrian Odyssey for its dungeon crawling, Dragon Quest for its fucking great story and systems. Beautiful game.
It's true. It's Nintendo. Please listen to us, 2 very unqualified gamers.
Yeah.
Offer an alternative or don't do that.
Just don't do it.
Just don't do it. Let everyone play Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Yeah.
They
don't give a shit about Xenoblade Chronicles X, by the way.
They really don't. When they were
marketing
like the one Wii U game not coming out.
When they were marketing Xenoblade Chronicles 3 recently, they just said it's based off of Xenoblade Chronicles 1 and 2.
It's based on the world of 1 and 2. And I was like,
shit. There was another one there.
But isn't there DLC in 2 of Elma? Where
yes.
she like shows up in the world. So I mean,
I think she's just isn't she just a blade though?
Yeah, maybe.
They do that. They do that with blades though.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Like
That's
Xenosaga blades.
That's the worst. That's the worst thing about 2 is the gotcha blade system.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot.
But what can you do? What can you really do?
What can you do?
And that's our talk. Let us know what you think about this Nintendo disabling fiasco. eShop stuff, and we'll be sure to talk to you in the comments below, and maybe we'll read them next week.
Yeah,
on the show.
Maybe I'll show up for some comments.
Maybe we'll
comment a little bit.
Yeah, on your comments. We'll comment on your
comments.
Ooh, I saw you. I owe someone $10.
I saw that. So it said, Spencer, prove it. And I said, oh, this is my chance.
This is my time to shine. Yeah. But yeah, thank you so much for your listening and hanging out, and have a good week.
See you guys.
Pixel.